All right, it's about 60 degrees out, so we're going to take advantage of this nice weather and get some outdoor chores done. I've been off of work for about 10 days, go back to work tomorrow, which, to be honest, excited to get back in a routine. I've been a little bit under the weather, so really ready to get back at it. And the weather next weekend, this upcoming weekend, looks like it's going to be back in the 30s and snowy, which is what we're used to here. So we're going to take a look at the chicken coop. There are some garden chores that I never got to at the end of the season. We're just going to do what we can out here for the rest of the afternoon. This coop is one big muddy mess. So you guys were with me when I added, I'm out of breath from walking up that hill. You guys were with me when I added more bedding yesterday, because we hadn't added a layer of bedding since they had been spending a lot of time in there, or all of their time in there, when the temperatures were below zero. So the coop definitely had a bit of an odor. And if there is any odor, that is a bad sign. So let me do that better. So we had added more bedding, but additionally, some of this covering that we had put on for heat, Reno opened that up so we get some more ventilation. We have this back door open so we can get the environment of the chicken coop back where it needs to be. This poor girl molting in the middle of winter. And selfishly for me, the ones that are molting are the only ones that were laying for us. So we haven't gotten eggs in about a week. Nothing. Okay, so now we made our first stop at the coop. They're fed, they're watered, their coop is good. So I'm heading up to the field. On our property, we have a 5-acre field. The rest is pretty much wooded. The rest is pretty much wooded. So the 5-acre field is where we did our gardening, and I just left some garden supplies up here, so I want to get those into the barn for the winter or the rest of winter. I have a coffee with me. There's nothing that a cup of coffee can't motivate you to do, so let's go to the field. These guineas are being absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what's gotten into them. Up here, I might have to voice over this. This was our initial chicken run before Reno built the one that we have. I grew some squash inside of that after it was done with the chickens. We brought it up here. These cattle panels I used to trellis my tomatoes. It was really awesome. We'll do that again next year. You know the story, like, oh, when I was your age, I had to walk up and down, uphill both ways to school. Well, yeah, that's my sob story about watering my garden. So I had a container up here of jugs because our water situation at the beginning of the summer, we didn't have a long enough hose to come up here. So we also don't have like a side-by-side or an ATV or anything like that. So I would have to bring wheelbarrows full of water up here, and that's what I use to put it on all the plants. I think the guineas are finding a new home. Okay, so I found some missing belongings across the field. We had some wind. This is our little windmill chicken that we put in the garden. This is the missing tote lid. All right, trip 1 to the barn. Let's go. Okay, next up, we have these big barrels. The initial intention was to have them gravity feed water to our garden. We put a spigot on one of them, but as you can see, it broke. So we had a couple of barrels break. We had a couple of tables that said they could hold that much weight break. There were many cheers had in the garden. We were a day late to vacation because of it. So these are just gonna have to be pitched. So I'm gonna take these down to the house and we'll see what Rena wants to do with them. I'm not really even sure how you dispose of something this big. So while we're out here in observation, look at where the chicken tractor was. You can see we moved it every day. We did 2 rounds of them. But it is so luscious and green compared to the regular grass in the field. It's just so amazing that even in the dead of winter, this ground is so much more nourished. So I'm hoping that will have the same impact on our garden. Our last round of chickens we did in, this is the site of the garden. The last round of chickens we did was in October. We also had we were also taking the garden down. So what we did is we drug the chicken tractor through here. They tore everything down and it looks like they made it a bit more nutrient dense. You can see all these random logs. We use those at the bottom of the fence to hopefully make sure that groundhogs and bunnies didn't get in. Here's our garlic. Oh my. Oh my. Look at this garlic. It was 0 degrees a week ago. Oops, something got the top of that. I should probably fence this in with something. Darn it. Darn it. I didn't think they'd come back up until spring. We will fix that. Okay, we are so close to being done. We just have the chicken run / squash hut left and a pile of miscellaneous items, fertilizer, and an axe. This task has been nagging me for the past couple of months, but really, holidays work, sitting on the couch watching Yellowstone, a lot of competing priorities. Okay, well, I would say that was a successful afternoon in the field. I ended up getting a little muddy. That's what happens when you're out here. More importantly, I'm so excited to start garden planning. I'm so excited to plan what we're doing with the chickens this year. You know, the guineas. I am so ready for a juicy garden ripe tomato. Says Moose. Hi, Star. I think the dogs wanted to come play in the field too. Okay, so what I was saying before Moose interrupted was the countdown to a juicy ripe garden fresh tomato is on. So it was really good to be out here today. Oh, hi Moose. It was really good to be out here today. Got me really excited to plan for the growing season. So subscribe. I'm coming up with a tool that I think is going to be really helpful for all of us to plan for gardening this summer, this spring. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for spending the afternoon outside with me.